I'm calling it How to Make Your Glitters Pop. You've probably seen this beautiful glitter that I've got from Jam Pot Glitters. This is the one called Dragon Scales, and it is currently my favourite. Now what I wanted to show you was how you take your glitter in resin from looking great to looking fabulous. Now this is what happens if you take that stunning glitter and just put it into a mould. Now I've allowed it to sink. As you can see, the glitter is all on the bottom here, so I've allowed it to sink so it looks dead sparkly and pretty from this side. You get the finer parts of the glitter will be on the upper side because they sink slower. The bottom has got the chunkiness of the glitter, and as you can see, it's blooming gorgeous. However, you can make it look even better. You've got two alternatives. First of all, you could take your mould and put in a layer of clear, just a thin layer, and let it cure, and then put the glitter on top. Or you could dome it. So those are the two obvious choices to me. And the result of doming it looks like this. So you've gone from that, which is lovely, flat obviously, but lovely and shiny, to that, which I hope you can see the difference, but that has really made the colours in that glitter pop. And if I tip them, try to tip them the same, can you see how much more vibrancy? I hope this is coming over on camera, but there is more vibrancy and gleam to the colours once they've been domed. So I'm going to show you how to do both of those techniques just very quickly, and for the sake of speed I'm going to use UV resin, just because, yeah, well, for the sake of speed, simple as that. The resin I'm going to use in this little mould, and I'll put you a link for the mould because I think everybody seems to like it. But the little mould is a cheapy one, and the resin I'm using is the regular viscosity one from J. Diction. Okay, in fact I'll do two while I'm at it. There's already a bit of glitter in this one, look. Why not? So we can see the differences. So we just need a thin layer. So there's the resin I'm using there. I'm using several different brands of UV resin at the moment. Current favourite, I think for a normal viscosity I'm going with the Just For You online one actually. For the high viscosity you're a bit more limited in choice for that, but I am finding the one that I've been using is the J. Diction one, and it's really, really good, and that's great for doming, which I'll show you in a moment. But I'm not obviously I'm not sponsored by any particular brand. I do get gifts sent to me, well, stuff on test basically to use in my videos from Just For You online. But as you can see, I'm being totally transparent about the fact that I use other brands, and you know, we'll continue to do so. I like experimenting with different brands basically, and there's some really good materials out there. I think I've got all the bubbles out. Don't care that there's a bit of glitter in there obviously, because I'm going to be putting glitter in anyway. But I've pushed it up into the corners. I'll just zoom you in, can you see that? So we've got a coverage of the clear resin. I'm going to put an extra couple of drops, I think. Basically what you're doing is creating, well, it won't be a dome as such because it will be flat, but you're creating that clear layer. Yeah, let's put a bit more. There you go. You're creating that clear layer that is what magnifies your resin. Magnifies rather what you've put in your resin. Okay, lamp coming up. I've got my Let's Resin lamp, which is great. It's a nice big one, look, and I will set it just for a minute because that'll do. So while that's curing, let's talk UV resin, shall we? Because that really, I think, is the key to making your glitters pop in this sort of small context. Obviously you could be using epoxy resin, and in fact those little flowers, these ones were initially made, oops, these ones were initially made with epoxy anyway, so mix and match. But when it comes to doming, definitely I will go for UV resin. You can use the thicker epoxy resins, but obviously for speed and just the fact that you can see what you're doing so easily, then the UV resin. And I would go for, whenever possible, a high viscosity one, for which, as I said, I use the J. Diction one. For the bases, like we're doing here, we could use either the epoxy, obviously, any viscosity of epoxy, really, just a general all-purpose one's great, or we could use the, again, any of the UV resins, really. I find that the lower viscosity is better when you're trying to do a base, so a standard one, or the or an actual low viscosity one, just because it's easier to debubble. Now what you can do, you see, is mix up your glitter and put it in now. Now I'm going to put a little bit in a pot. Where's a pot? Where's a pot? For the sake of speed, we are going to go with the UV resin again. As I said, normally I would probably go for epoxy for something this size, because these ones are slightly bigger. But I am going to mix up some UV. Let's see if we can get the light to go all the way through it. This could be interesting. Remember, if you're using UV resin, which I know a lot of people will do for jewellery pieces, then you've got to bear in mind that if you're putting this much glitter in, that's a lot of glitter, then you're not going to get the light to go through very well. So you do need to be careful and make sure that you've got your light all the way through it. Now, sometimes I'll put a mirror underneath. That definitely helps. Look how thick that's made that. Yeah, a mirror underneath will definitely help, because then you've got your... This is easier with epoxy, to be fair. I'm making it, just doing this bit quick because it's a video. What did I say? Oh, yes, mirror. God, dear, I'm so easily distracted. I distract myself. Bad, isn't it, really? I put a mirror underneath it because that will reflect some of the light back up. But when it's as dense as this, I mean, a lot of glitter there, isn't there? There's an awful lot of glitter there. Then I don't think a mirror is going to help a great deal. But you should always probably, even if you are using a mirror underneath, you should probably always flip it over and zap the back as well. Okay, so I'm just going to fill these up, speed this bit up for you. Right, so we've got those in, and they are pretty darn full. And there's a hell of a lot of glitter in there. So let's start taking bets. How many of you think this isn't going to cure? Oh dear. You know me, I'll show it you whether it works or not. I take the term learning by mistakes to a whole new level, except I don't tend to learn. But hopefully you'll learn from them. Right, just going to put the lamp over again, and this time I'm going to leave it on for the whole 120 seconds. So I'll cut this bit for you. Okay, just giving them a zap from the back now as well, just trying to make sure that that light has got all the way through. Okay, zapped. Let's have a look. So yeah, as you can see, because we've got a layer of clear between the glitter and the surface, there's the back, which is fine, but the front here is, I don't know how well the camera's picking this up really. Here's the one that hasn't been coated and wasn't done that way. There's more of a richness there, you know, it magnifies the colours. So that's worked nicely. I also made a couple of little bits as well while I was at it. Those will become pendants or something. There we go, a little bit of a trim to do there, I see. I'll do that in a moment. So those have worked. However, can I just show you, I hope you can see what's going on here. This is the one that I domed. It's got that lovely, sorry, let's get the focus sorted. It's got that lovely soft domed look to the surface. And I think as you move it around, it sparkles even better than that one. And I think it's because of the curve to the surface. So let's put the mould out of the way and let's have a look at what we've got. We've got the untreated one. Let's put them all in my hand and get close. This is the unsurfaced one. Let's call it unsurfaced, shall we? That's the one that I've just got out, putting it on them clear on the mould first. I mean, they're all fabulous, aren't they? That glitter just works whatever you do with it, really. I've even tried it on a satin finish and that works. But the one, I hope you can see that this one that I've domed, though these might be easier, this one I think is the way to go. So I'm going to take the untreated one and I'm going to show you how to do that. Very simple actually. Just takes a little bit of a judgment as to how, let me sit down, there we are, as to how thick you put your resin. So this is where I am going to use the high viscosity one from J. Diction. I need to order some more of this. So as you can see, my bottle's looking a bit tatty, but the reason for using the high viscosity one, doming is all dependent on surface tension, and so the thicker the resin, the better the surface tension, i.e. it's not going to pour over the sides and dribble down like a really runny one would. So that is why you'll find that either a regular UV resin is pretty good, or if you can get hold of a high viscosity one like this, it's even better. If you're using a normal viscosity resin, don't use a low viscosity one, it will just run off the sides. But if you're using a regular viscosity resin, like the one I started the other ones with, then just, you know, you can dome up 2 layers. In fact, you can dome up 2 layers with any of them, or 3 layers or 4 layers. It's just that with the high viscosity one, you can go quite deep with that surface tension, holding it in place all in one go. So it is specifically wonderful for doming. Now, I don't know if you can see how, obviously I can't tip it up and show you because then it will go over the edges, but that is pretty deep and it's only just starting to go over the sides. So I'm going to clean that up. I was just seeing how deep I could take it really, and that is pretty deep. So let's clean that up and let's get the lamp over it. But yes, it's just starting to go over. So quickly going to get the lamp in. The way of double doming, of course, is to take one that you'd already put a layer on. So we're not really double doming here. What we're doing is doing the one that put the clear layer in first and then we're doming it. So you could say that's not double doming really, is it? But let's just see what that does. I'm trying to come up with the ideal solution here. These are so beautiful, perhaps you don't need a solution. Maybe I'm trying to fix something that isn't a problem in the first place. I don't know. One thing I do know is I need to get some more of this resin. If any other UV resin manufacturers are watching this, this idea of the different viscosities, it's a good idea. Because I'm finding that the projects I'm doing, a general or purpose one is great. You know, you can do most things with that. In fact, you can do anything with that. But when you start to get a bit more specialised and there's specific effects and things you're trying to do, it's actually very useful to have the different sorts. I've recently found that the sort of UV resin that dries bendy is very useful too. Right, let's get the lamp on that quick before the surface tension gives up on me. Right, let's have a look then. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think the conclusion I've come to is that the more clear resin you get on the top of it, on top of your glitter, the better. And if you dome the surface too, that's when you get the spectacular results. So I don't know if we can compare that to the one that was already beautiful because it got the clear, and then we've added a dome. I really don't know how much this is coming over on the video, but maybe I'm getting it at that angle. Now that's a shiny mould, the one on the right, yeah, but compare it to that. Yeah, I'm hoping you're seeing the difference. So there you go, conclusions. Doming's the way to go. If you wish to put a clear layer in first and then your glitter and cure that up and then dome afterwards, that's a great way of doing it as well. But overall, the answer is one way or another, get yourself a dome on it. Job done. There you go. Hope that was a helpful little video, and I'll see you for the next one. If you'd like to give me a thumbs up for this video, that would be awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.